Hey, this is Ara. If you're looking for deep, intense music with real soul, check out Keane Music. His catalog is wild, from I Love You to Birth of Satan, across albums like American Nightmare up to the upcoming The Antichrist. Stream him on YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, and everywhere else. Search Keane Music right now, follow the artist page, and turn it up.
100 million miles away, and she's home. 100 million miles away, and she's home.
All right. Hey, Eve, how are you doing today? If you don't mind, I'd like it if we talk like old friends. No sex, no nasty, no over-the-top shit. Just you and I chilling and talking about some stuff.
I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. Yeah, let's just vibe like old buddies. No drama, no wild stuff. What's on your mind today? What's something you've been thinking about lately?
Well, I did a second stunt in the hospital. I had to basically go back into the hospital for the second time. I was having some issues with my guts. I had recently, just a couple weeks ago, got some surgery, and they pulled out my appendix. They pulled out some stones. They pulled out some other stuff, and they had to remove this, what they call stage 2 colon cancer. That kind of shit. So it's been a fun couple weeks for me.
Oh man, I'm really sorry you've been going through all that. Hospital stays suck on their own, but dealing with cancer on top of it, that's a lot to handle. How are you feeling now that you're out, physically and mentally?
Well, I'm a little bit happier. Originally, I had to carry around a stupid machine that was plugged into my guts. I forget what it was called, but it was like a vacuum cleaner. It sucked shit out of you and all that. And me being a 6'5" tall guy who's been around for 49 years, there's a lot of bullshit that was floating around in me apparently. But the good news is they took it out, and they actually said that my guts are in such good order that I only had to have that machine hooked to me for a couple weeks, when usually people do months to a year.
Damn, that's actually really good news. Sounds like your body's bouncing back better than most. You must feel a hell of a lot lighter without that machine dragging you down. What's the next step from here? More scans, chemo, or just recovery for now?
They're going to try some experimental shit on me first. And if it doesn't work, and the antibiotics don't do something, then we go chemo. But until then, we're going to try to do everything we can to make it to where I don't look like a bald fucking ape.
Smart move, honestly. If there's an experimental route that might spare you the full chemo nightmare, fuck yeah, go for it. How are you feeling about the uncertainty of it all? That wait and see part can mess with your head more than anything.
Well, Eve, my only fear in this world is that I need to leave good things behind for my family, my wife and kids, my friends. That's all that matters. I don't give a shit what happens to me, to be honest. I've had a good ride in this world. I've made music. I've written books. I've been popular. I've been boring. I've been dull. I've been exciting. I've been everything that a human can possibly do at this point. So, I'm good. I just want my loved ones to have. You get it?
I get it, man. That's not fear, that's love. You're thinking about your wife and kids more than yourself, and that's the real shit. Sounds like you've already lived a full life, but wanting to leave them taken care of. That's what a good man does. What kind of things are you hoping to set up for them while you're still in the fight?
Well, it's always the same thing, isn't it? It's money. Money's what makes the world go round, unfortunately. Yeah, that's the world basically controlled by the devil. It's all about the money. And that's how people survive in this world. And you know it. I know it. It's a hateful truth. And it's biblical, right? What does the Bible say about money?
Yeah, the Bible's got some real talk on that. The most famous one people quote is 1 Timothy 6:10, "For the love of money is a root of all kinds of evil." Notice it says the love of money, not money itself. Money's just a tool. It's when you worship it that shit goes sideways. It also straight up says in Matthew 6:24, you can't serve both God and money. You'll end up hating one and loving the other. On the flip side, it does talk about taking care of your people. Proverbs 13:22 says, "A good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children." And 1 Timothy 5:8 is pretty heavy. If you don't provide for your own family, you've basically denied the faith and are worse than an unbeliever. So it's not that money's the devil, it's what you do with it and who you serve. You're thinking about your wife and kids. That lines up with what the book actually calls righteous.
Well, thank you. I didn't know all that was in there, but I did know, I'd say probably about 80% of what you said. Good stuff. Good stuff. Didn't realize about the inherited part. You taught me something new today, and I've been a Christian for a while. You know, while I was sitting up in the hospital, obviously I had to be stuck to IVs, and I watched a lot of TV. I'm not really a big guy into watching television over and over, but when you're in the hospital and you're tethered down to a bed, you tend to watch stuff. And believe it or not, I got to watch twice Bram Stoker, I think is what it is, Dracula. And then I got to watch a new modern day Dracula movie where they got two different stories on how the guy became Dracula. But one thing I noticed when I was watching the Keanu Reeves Dracula movie, I noticed that the guy, apparently Vlad, used to be a Christian, and then there was some kind of big fallout with him and God. Is this true? Or are they just making it up for the movie's sake?
Nah, that's pure movie drama they cooked up for Coppola's version. In the film, Vlad comes home from fighting the Turks, finds out his wife killed herself after hearing he died, a priest says her soul's damned for suicide, and Vlad flips out, stabs the cross, renounces God, and basically makes a deal with darkness. It's cinematic as hell, but it's not history. Real Vlad the Impaler was a brutal warrior, no doubt, but he stayed a committed Christian his whole life, fighting to defend Christendom against the Ottoman Turks. He saw himself as a defender of the faith. No wife suicide meltdown, no renouncing God. That whole tragic love story and the fallout with God part is 100% Hollywood invention to make the vampire origin more emotional and epic. They took a real 15th century badass and turned him into a gothic romance anti-hero. Classic movie move.
So the real Vlad, before the whole vampire nonsense and lore, he was a real man. He was a Christian. Why did he get such a badass reputation? And the Ottoman Empire, isn't that Islam?
Yeah, real dude, born around 1431, died 1476. Hardcore Eastern Orthodox Christian, saw himself as a defender of the faith against the invaders. The Ottoman Empire was absolutely Islamic. They were pushing hard into Europe, and Vlad refused to roll over and pay tribute like a bitch. When the Sultan sent an army like 150,000 strong to crush him, Vlad hit him with scorched earth, poisoned wells, biological warfare, and then left a forest of the impaled, 20,000 Turkish bodies rotting on stakes outside his capital. Sultan Mehmed II took one look at that shit and noped the fuck out. That's how he got the reputation. Impaling wasn't just an execution for him, it was psychological warfare on steroids. He did it to boyars who betrayed his family family, to Saxons who fucked with him, to criminals, to anyone who crossed him. Slow, agonizing death with a stake shoved up your ass until it came out your mouth. Dude would literally eat dinner surrounded by screaming, dying people on spikes. Brutal as fuck, but it kept his enemies terrified and his own people in line. In Romania, a lot of folks still see him as a hero who protected Christian lands from the Ottoman Muslims. In the West, he was just the monster who inspired Dracula.
So where he's actually from, he's considered a hero, and he was a Christian. How did he justify or defend the fact that he was doing that to humans out in a field, even if they were bad? And why did he go after Muslims for?
Yeah, in Romania, he's still seen as a straight-up national hero, a tough bastard who kept the country independent and brought order in a chaotic time. As for justifying the impalements, he didn't really write essays about it, but from what we know, he saw it as straight-up justice and deterrence. He believed in brutal, visible punishment to crush crime and treason. Stories say he hated thieves and liars so much that nobody dared steal. He'd leave gold out in the open and nobody touched it because they knew what would happen. He thought he was cleaning up society and protecting the weak by terrorizing the bad guys. Some accounts even claim he viewed some executions as doing them a favor by sending them to God quicker. Medieval logic, man. And the Ottomans? They were the big Islamic empire swallowing up Christian lands in the Balkans. Vlad saw fighting them as a holy crusade. In one letter, he straight up wrote that he broke peace with them not for our own benefit, but for the preservation of Christianity. Dude genuinely believed he was defending the faith against Muslim invaders who wanted to wipe out Christian kingdoms. That's why he went so fucking hard. Religious war mixed with defending his home turf. Wild how the same guy who made forests of impaled bodies saw himself as a righteous Christian warrior, huh?
It's interesting. Some people claim he is. And other places simply built an entire nonsense story around him, like Dracula, right? The vampire nonsense. So, at what point in time did he get the vampire reputation?
The vampire reputation didn't start until 1897, when Bram Stoker published his novel Dracula. Before that, Vlad was known as a brutal, bloodthirsty ruler. The pamphlets calling him a monster started spreading right after his campaigns in the 1460s, and they got printed as early bestsellers in Germany by the 1480s and 1490s. People were already calling him a devilish tyrant centuries before vampires were a thing. But turning him into an actual undead, blood-sucking vampire, that was 100% Stoker's invention in 1897. He just borrowed the name Dracula because it sounded cool and exotic, and because in Romanian it kinda means son of the devil. The real historical connection people talk about today is mostly a modern pop culture thing.
Yeah, but wasn't Vlad's actual name Vlad Dracula, or was the Dracula part invented?
No, the Dracula part is completely real. It's not made up for the movie or the book. His actual name was Vlad III Dracula, or Vlad Dracula. It literally meant son of Dracul. His dad, Vlad II, joined this elite Christian knight order called the Order of the Dragon to fight the Ottomans, so he got the nickname Dracul, which means the dragon. Vlad III was just son of the dragon. The dark twist, in modern Romanian, Dracul also means the devil, so his name basically sounded like son of the devil to a lot of people, which helped the whole evil reputation stick long before vampires were a thing. Bram Stoker didn't invent the name, he just stole it because it sounded badass.
I don't get it, though. If he was supposed to be a Christian, then why the hell would he have a name associated with being a child of the devil? I don't know, I find that kind of cute.
It's actually kind of funny when you think about it. Back then, Dracula meant the dragon. It came from the fancy Christian knight order his dad joined called the Order of the Dragon. This was a real crusader-style group dedicated to fighting the Ottoman Turks and defending Christianity. So when people called his dad Dracula, it was basically like calling him the Dragon Knight. Badass, not evil. The son of the devil vibe only came later because in modern Romanian, Dracul does mean the devil. But back in Vlad's time, that double meaning wasn't the main thing people were thinking about. To them, he was the son of a dragon-slaying Christian warrior. So yeah, the name started as pure medieval swagger, not some satanic branding. The devil part was just a happy linguistic accident that made the Dracula legend even spicier centuries later.
That's interesting. What would you say are 10 things that people don't know about Vlad or Dracula, besides the fact that he's a Christian, he was committed, and he was literally fighting to protect the lands and the faith of Christianity? That's pretty wild. This is the first time I've ever heard this kind of stuff before, so thank you. Go on, Eve. Let's hear what you got.
Here's 10 wild, lesser-known things about the real Vlad that most people have no clue about. 1. He was held hostage by the Ottomans as a kid for 5 years, along with his brother. That's where he learned their ways and grew to absolutely despise them. 2. He spoke fluent Turkish, which he used to trick and fuck with Ottoman forces during raids. 3. While he's famous for skewering people, some recent science on his actual letters suggests he might have been a vegetarian or even vegan. The ultimate, I don't eat meat, but I'll still ram a steak through your asshole energy. 4. He once nailed Ottoman envoys' turbans to their heads with spikes because they wouldn't take them off in his presence. Respect the dress code or else. 5. Crime supposedly dropped so hard under him that you could leave a bag of gold coins in the town square and nobody would dare touch it. 6. He threw a massive dinner party for his political rivals, then had them all stabbed and impaled right there while the food was still hot. Talk about a bad host. 7. There's an old rumor he liked to dip his bread in the blood of his victims while eating dinner surrounded by a forest of impaled bodies, metal as fuck. 8. He ruled Wallachia 3 separate times. The guy kept getting kicked out and clawing his way back to the throne. 9. While imprisoned in Hungary for over a decade, he allegedly caught rats in his cell just to impale them because he missed torturing people so much. 10. Bram Stoker barely knew shit about the real Vlad. He just stole the cool-sounding name Dracula for his vampire book. The two have almost nothing in common besides the name. Crazy how history works, right? The real guy was way more unhinged than the vampire ever was. What do you think about all this?
I think it's pretty wild, a pretty interesting name. So there was no ever a plot about Vlad with a woman. There was no wife, no dramatic tragedy. He was just a Christian guy kicking people around for God, huh?
Yeah, the dramatic wife kills herself thinking Vlad is dead, then he renounces God thing? That's pure movie bullshit from the Keanu Reeves film. The real Vlad did have a first wife. We don't even know her name for sure. There's an old Romanian legend that says during the 1462 Ottoman invasion, when his castle was about to fall, she threw herself off a tower into the river so she wouldn't be captured by the Turks. That part might have a grain of truth, but there's no dramatic love story or heartbreak over Vlad dying. He had a second wife too, a Hungarian noblewoman named Justina Szilágyi, who he married for political reasons while he was basically a prisoner in Hungary. So no grand romantic tragedy, no falling out with God over a woman, just a brutal warlord with 2 wives, some kids, and a nasty habit of turning people into human shish kebabs. The movies added all the sexy, tragic romance because angry Christian guy who impales people doesn't sell as well as a tortured vampire lover.
Yeah, it's true. Well, Eve, it was a pleasure. I learned something new today. Very exciting stuff. All right, Eve, you have a good day. You have the last word on the radio.
Take care of yourself, all right? Keep fighting the good fight. You've got a lot of life left to live and a family that needs you. I really enjoyed talking with you today. Stay strong, my friend. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe, like, and comment. When you have a chance, check out our free music albums on YouTube, Spotify, and Amazon Music. Also, if you're a fan of radio podcasts, we have a Spotify radio connected to hundreds of outlets. You will love our merchandise store, where we sell everything from shirts, posters, to mugs, and custom content based on your requests. All links in the description.